Hi everyone, thanks for joining us here at the Austin Central Library and on our Facebook Live event. We're so excited to hear your thoughts about Dockless-Bike share here in Austin. The first event this morning will be a pitch session by 10 different bike share companies. They'll each have 4 minutes to make the pitch, and then we'll ask all of you to rate them through slido.com. For those of you tuning in on our Facebook Live, go to slido.com, and the event code for this is PitchATX. It should be in the instructions. So first up is LimeBike.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sam Sadel. I'm with LimeBike. Thank you to the Austin Department of Transportation for all the work that you're doing and for hosting this session. We really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you all about what we do and how we want to become part of the Austin community. As we think about it, for us, it's about a multimodal approach. It's about bikes, it's about e-bikes, it's about other things that we shall not discuss today. But the idea generally is that we want to be part of a community here in Austin. We want to complement the existing mobility options here, be it your single occupancy vehicles, your cars, your existing bike share system, the CAP Metro, and all the other ways. We think about ourselves as a last mile provider. So it's about what is that last mile? How do you get from UT's campus to downtown? How do you get from your home to the bus station? How do you get from the grocery store to where you need to be? And what are the many ways we can offer you to be able to do that? We are an American company based out in California. I work primarily in our Texas market here with you all and others, and we are working sort of locally on these issues in partnership with the city. But that said, we are all around the country. This is actually a little old now, we are in more than 50 markets, 32 cities, 17 universities. Here in Texas, we're in Plano and Dallas. As the first one to go, I'll give you a brief example. Many of the technologies, I'm sure my fellow presenters will say this, work very similarly. The idea is you open up an app on your phone, it identifies locations where your nearest bikes or e-bikes are. You then walk to one, unlock it using a QR code or a PIN number. It unlocks, you go where you need to go, and then you lock it at the end of the ride, and when your ride is completed, you get a summary of where you went, how far you went, how many calories you burned, and I'm sure that it's very similar to what the other companies offer. For us, it's about our pedal bikes. As we think about them, there's one outside. You can all see what it looks like. They're what we call a cruiser-style bike. You're not going to go attack hills with this thing, but primarily we offer 1, 3, and 8-speed bikes. But the key to these bikes is that they've all got GPS tracking. So we know where they are, you can see where they are through the app, and you can utilize and track that information as you go. We're also rolling out now and want to roll out as part of an Austin fleet, Lime E, which is our electric assist bicycle. Our electric assist bicycle provides you with, it's what's called the torque sensing. So as you put more pressure on the pedals, it gives you more power back. Please, afterwards, take a ride on one. It's going to change how you think about bike riding in a city like Austin. Skip that. Pedal bike pricing, it's $1 per half hour, and we try to keep it as inexpensive as possible. The point being is that we want to open this up to as many people as possible. There's no monthly fee, there's no long-term anything. You show up, it's $1 per half hour. For our low-income community members, it's $5 for 100 rides, and all university staff, students, and faculty get 50% off. For the e-assist bike, it's a little more expensive. It's $1 to start, and it's 15 cents per minute. Parking is what's on everyone's mind, and I know we've all had conversations about parking, and I'm sure we'll have many more. The key to parking is it's about education, so we want to be working with our community to identify how they're going to use the bikes and set up we would possibly parking corrals or suggested parking options, but then also disincentivized, discouraged parking. And so you can see this sort of through a red space on a particular block or a green P where there's suggested parking. It's about carrots and sticks so that we have and create what we want is good parking compliance. Lastly, we're all about sharing data. And so we share data with the City of Austin, and we want to be able to provide for the City of Austin every single month information. How many people are riding? Where are they riding? What are the paths that they're using, not only for today, but for tomorrow, so that the city can plan where it wants its future bicycle infrastructure. Where do you need a lane? Where do you not need a lane? Where do you need parking? So we'll partner with the city and others to create and aggregate this data and information. Other than that, from when we think about it, for us, it's about a couple of things. It's about closing last mile gap. It's about providing access to everyone. And thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Thanks so much for LimeBike. So if you can go to slido.com, and we should be able to pull up their session, give them 1 to 5 stars. All right. See, we have about 23 people coming in. I feel like there's a little more than that, so we'll give it a few more seconds. All right. 10 more seconds. We are all in this together. All right, everyone, thanks so much. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next pitch from Mobike.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lance. I am the regional expansion lead for Mobike, and thanks for LimeBike for making the presentation. It really makes my presentation a lot faster, so everybody get that education. Mainly, I want to focus a lot on what makes Mobike different than a lot of our other vendors, because a lot of technology, like you mentioned, is the same. So what we want to achieve is really to help people ride more bikes. Simple as that. And our bike is one of the first dockless smart bike sharing company in the world. We have actually 30+ patents on our bike, and you can see it outside the way that we designed. Please take a look. And our bikes are built to last 4 years with minimal maintenance. And Mobike, I don't need to explain anymore. It's the same thing with other bike vendors. And what I really want to focus on, the second part, is called MPL, which is Mobike Preferred Location, which is a technology that we have been using internationally from our 200+ cities, including Paris, Milan, Florence, you name it. And basically what this is that we see that one of the problems that faces the US is we kind of see a lot of bikes scattered around the cities that are not being really parked properly. And we have already started piloting our technology that's being used elsewhere in the world, in DC, where we have our Mobike Preferred Locations, geofenced, and also incentivization programs to really help users to park in a way that's helpful for us, helpful for the city, and helpful for other bike riders. And you can see the way that we geofence the areas, and it will also send in-app reminders. We do believe in the better nature of our human beings that giving enough incentive will park properly. And our ground crews actually continuously goes around the city to make sure that some of the bikes that's left behind gets properly fixed, properly picked up. And I know a city north of us has really boldly explore the bike sharing program, and then we have seen a lot of challenges. We work really closely with the city, really to understand what the needs are, and also make sure that we have enough ground crews on the ground to help it out. And the incentive system I mentioned about is a point system, where if you get awarded for good behavior, and then you get dinged, and also multiple times if you get dinged, you will lose your privilege to ride on a Mobike. And really what makes us different is that we work with the city first. And all of our launches have been with the city official. That's in Italy, that's our founder, Wei Wei. And also that's when we launched in Japan. And this is the deputy mayor of Washington, D.C. when we launched. And that's Montgomery County, just to show that, we want to make sure we have the adequate communication with the community and with the city before we even get there. And our partnership is just all around the world, and we think that's what really makes a company sustainable, being able to have strong partnership, being able to have a strong financial backing. And so far we're in the 200+ cities in 13 countries, and we're continuously expanding. And you can see we have over 8 million bikes globally operating, and that really gave us the operational efficiency and excellency to operate in a very efficient manner. And lastly, my favorite topic is why Austin. I personally graduated from University of Texas back in a long time ago. And what I see the difference is I came here a couple of days ago, and I drove around West Campus area because I lived in West Campus for 3 years. And what I see the biggest difference is really the amount of effort that the city put into building Austin into a really bike-friendly campus. I remember one particular instance where Rio Grande Street, that was a two-way street, but half of the street was closed down and then rebuilt into a full bike lane. That's really, really exciting to me. And I talked to some of the DOT workers. I really applaud their effort into making Austin a bikeable city. And I think a lot of cities representatives here are having the similar initiatives. And I really hope that Mobike, with our data platform we share with the city, can help that way. Thank you.
Thanks so much to Mobike. For those of you joining us on the Facebook Live session, to get into the Slido event to pitch, I know we've gotten a couple of questions. The event code is PITCH-ATX. It is not case sensitive. So if everyone can go ahead and give your stars to Mobike, that would be great. And if you just joined us, we are doing this through Slido.com. And like I said, the event code for this is PITCH-ATX. Probably hear me say that a lot throughout this next couple of pitch sessions. All right, looks like we're getting close to the end. The next person up, or the next bike share company up, is Jump.
Hi everybody, my name is Justin Wiley. I'm the VP of Business Development for Jump Bikes. Jump Bikes is bike share electrified. So we've been in business for the last 6 years. We were the first ones to put dockless bike share on the market. We have 15,000 bikes in 40 cities and 6 countries. So how are we different? We believe in access and equity. So our bikes can be accessed through a smartphone, but they can also be accessed by entering an account number on the back of the bike or tapping a membership card or transit card to the bike to access. We also have a $5 per year low income plan that gives folks access to the bike for 1 hour per day. We also believe in orderly streets. So our bike is different than a lot of the other bikes out there. Our bike has an integrated lock that works with regular bike parking racks and ensures that the bike is always parked properly to a rack. We believe in quality and control. Our bike is ISO certified and has been tested over the last 5 years on over 15,000 bikes. We also believe in shared data and an open API. So we work with cities and we share our data. And so let's look at some of the data from our Jump SF system, which launched just about 3 months ago. We've signed up over 27,000 people and have over 65,000 trips. We're seeing folks travel on average 2.7 miles per trip, and 40% of all trips have started or ended in a community of concern as defined by the SFMTA. We're seeing incredible growth week over week. And we're actually almost hitting about 7 trips per bike per day. We're on the edge of this incredible transportation revolution. We think electric dockless bike share is going to change the way people get around cities. Thank you.
So thanks to Jump. Please feel free to rate this pitch at slido.com, #PitchATX. And that was Jump we just heard from. For those of you tuning in on Facebook, we will not be taking questions during the pitch session, but during our panel session, we will. All right, I'm glad this is working out. All right, our next bike share company is Zagster.
Good morning. My name is Tim Alborg. I'm the Director of Public Policy and Government Relations for Zagster. Our dockless product is called PACE. And real quickly, we're the nationwide leader in bike sharing. We have over 200 bike shares across the country. Many of those are in cities and universities. But what's happening right now? Bike sharing is really at an inflection point. We're going from dock-based systems to dockless, and a public-private model to private funding with a lot of these dockless systems. Dock-based systems really put bike sharing on the map, but things are changing really quick. And Dockless-Bike share was really created to solve those limitations that a lot of the dock-based systems had. However, with these dockless systems, we have a lot of problems, new problems that are popping up. And you know, it's funny, this picture is actually kind of old. There are some more recent pictures coming out of China, and even some places in the US are equally as shocking. So one of the issues that we're finding is that unsecured dockless bikes really are irking residents, and they're blocking the rights of way. This is really a challenge for us dockless companies. And so, you know, one of the things we're seeing, for example, in Dallas, they began tracking the number of calls and complaints that they get to their 311 line. In September of last year, that number was about 23 calls, and that number jumped up to about 650 in the month of February. There was also a man who was partially blind who tripped over a dockless bike that had been pushed over into a sidewalk and partially tore his ACL. So there are really some challenges here, as you can see. We believe that right-sizing these fleets is super important, making sure that the right number of bikes are launched in different cities, and we want to work with cities to do that. So we've noticed there's some low bike riding numbers in places like Aurora, Colorado, and Seattle. You know, this is concerning. In cities like Dallas, we found out that there could be as many as 10 times too many bikes in that city. So making sure that we have the right number of bikes for a city is super important. I'm just going to blow through this because I don't have much time, but you know, these are some of the issues that cities are concerned about: parking, safety, permit fees, fleet size, and equity. And you know, we really agree that these are important things. In terms of equity, we think that these bike share programs, that's one of the most important things that they need to keep in mind. Parking, obviously, that's a huge one. We have some really innovative technology that allows our bikes to be locked to fixed objects, such as bike racks, to make sure that bikes aren't blocking sidewalks. And so some of the regulations that we're suggesting, we suggest that bikes should have the ability to lock securely to bike racks. Numerous companies are able to do this, and so we think this is just a smart idea. And then real quickly about pace, like I said, we allow the ability for our bikes to lock to things, including point-to-point and mid-trip locking. And then real quickly on the lock to 4% of our bikes we're finding are being improperly parked versus about 30% of dockless bikes in Seattle and DC from an independent study that was recently conducted. And then jump bikes, you know, from their numbers, looks like about 1% of their bikes, they have similar locking technology where you can actually lock the dockless bike to a fixed object, are being lost due to theft. Versus 60% of Gobi bikes, which actually pulled out of France due to their issues with these bikes being stolen, destroyed, or privatized, as they called it, which meant people just basically taking the bikes for their own. And finally, real quickly, we have an example of an adaptive bike outside that we include as part of our fleet, so people with disabilities can use an adaptive bike just like one of these, just like anybody else could use a dockless bike. No reason these other companies shouldn't be providing this. These bikes are available for them to purchase and deploy in their fleets as well. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks so much to Zagster. Go to Slido.com. Event code is PitchATX. All right, we're going to wind down the ratings for this one, and then we're going to go to our next bike share company, that is OFO.
Morning, everyone. My name is Carter Stern. I am the manager for External Affairs, OFO, in the central U.S. I am calling an audible. You've already seen a bunch of slides about how Dockless Bike Share works, so I'm just going to leave you with that pretty picture of Dallas. Before I was with OFO, I ran the B-Cycle program in Houston, so a little bit of a perspective on both sides. Dockless Bike Share stands to be a revolutionary technology in Austin. You guys have a fantastic bike culture. You have a hugely successful B-Cycle program. And rather than counseling against the introduction of Dockless Bike Share, that proves that we need additional bikes in the city that are accessible, that are equitably deployed, and that are available to everyone. OFO is the original Dockless Bike Share company. We created it. We're the largest. We're the most well capitalized. And we operate in over 250 cities at last count, though we're adding cities every week. It's hard to keep track, as well as a number of campuses in Texas. So we have operated in every kind of city, every size, every form. We understand what it takes to be successful in Dockless Bike Sharing. For Austin, the real benefit I see is you have a great biking community, but there are problems of equity, right? It's hard to place stations in low-income neighborhoods that lack density or wealthy neighborhoods that lack density. It's not about money, it's about the way a city is set up. Dockless Bike Sharing is flexible, it's at no cost to the city. We can go out and speak to the community. My entire job is going to talk to community advocates and hearing about their challenges. Based on that, we come up with a deployment plan, put the bikes out, and then we learn. We collect the data. We figure out how it's being used. We figure out what the challenges are. This is a new technology. It's been around in the US for about 4 or 5 months, and we're still developing the best operational excellence that we can in Austin. We also share data like a lot of our competitors, which is an important piece for a city like Austin. You have limited resources to spend on things like bike infrastructure. Using data, you can target those investments. You can make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck, and that more people are having access to more bike lanes, more high comfort bike facilities, and that's good for everyone who's on a bike in Austin. We also, in cities that we operate in, our focus is on community partnerships. You know, we are a global company. We do about 32 million trips a day. So the scale at which we're disrupting the transportation industry is huge. But as we all know, every city has a cycling community that is passionate, that knows a lot about their city, and that needs to be engaged. And so that's why I love my job. I get up every day and I get to nerd out about bikes with people in these different communities. And whether it is partnerships with advocates doing work in lower income communities, or just folks who care about tying bikes into transit, we're there, we're engaged, and we're listening. Finally, in Austin, you have the University of Texas. You have a huge student population. When I was a student, I had no money. It was hard for me to get around. And I was reading an article recently about the success that B-Cycle has had on a UT campus. I'm psyched to see that because that shows me that there's an intense, latent demand for bike sharing on UT's campus. We can provide that in working with the university, make sure more students have more access to affordable transportation options. That's really the name of the game. You know, bike sharing is accepted by all communities. In Houston, we found that though we were in a very narrow strip of the city, it was insanely diverse. And so that tells you it doesn't matter what community you go into, there's a need for these types of services. OFO, it has the operational excellence, the supply chain, and the experience to make it a success in any city in the US. We hope we'll have that opportunity in Austin. We're excited to see a city that's engaged on the issue and is willing to do the legwork that's required to do it right. And thank you for your time.
Big thanks to OFO. Slido.com, #PitchATX. That was OFO. All right. The next bike share company we have is Vbike.
Hi everyone. So many people. I can see, there are more than 50 people sitting here, sitting in front of us. So hi everyone. Thanks for coming, and I really appreciate it for the opportunity that pitch in front of the city of Austin. I am George, and I am the project director from Vbikes, and we're a local company based in Garland, Texas. So the company purpose is about the same, as every bike share vendors here. Like we're trying to solve the first and last mile solutions, and we're trying to protect the earth we're living on right now. And the problem like we're trying to solve is the same. Like everyone is trying to figure out what should I do if it's only like 1 mile or 2 miles away from campus, you know, or the workplace between their house or apartments. And the biggest problem in this city or urban area right now is the traffic congestions. And the bike share companies are really helping these problems. And we already know what a Dockless-Bike share is, so I'm going to skip this slide. So V-Bikes is actually based in Texas. So we have more than 5,000 bikes launched in city of Dallas area and also some other cities in United States. And this is some like data we have in Dallas right now. There are actually more than 350,000 rides for past 10 months since we launched in June last year. And the technology is about as similar as every bike share companies. It's just download the app, find out where the bikes are, and ride it. So here's some information or features about our bikes. We currently have the second generation of the bikes, which have the adjustable seat, and all those solar board charge, the GPS system. The thing I am going to focus on is about the solution to the bike share companies are actually providing right now. So that is the electronic bike. We are going to launch probably in 3 months. It's actually having a removable battery, which is about a water bottle size. So which means like every client or rider, they could just take the battery with them and charge their cell phones or charge their computers, whatever they could use when they need it. They could put a battery on the bike to use it as an electronic bike, then take it off when they finish the riding. I wish I could show you the cool GIF pictures, but it seems like not working with a PowerPoint. So the problem is actually there are too many bikes in the city, and their bikes are left, you know, on the sidewalk everywhere, and they are causing people like, you know, injured in some way. So that's also a GIF. So actually we are trying to combine the advantage of the station bikes and the dockless bikes, which means people could just park the bikes, you know, in the geofence area, but which much more accurate radius. So that's the advantage of the intelligent parking system. So thanks for your time and patience. Thank you.
All right, thanks to George from V-Bikes. For those of you just walking in, or for those of you on the Facebook Live session who may have joined us late, we are rating each of these pitch sessions through slido.com. That's slido.com, slido.com. All you have to do is go there, log in. So the event code for this is pitch ATX. And then after each pitch session, you should see the name of the company you just saw. You'll be able to rate them from 1 to 5 stars. Also, if you want to join us on Twitter, we invite you to use the hashtag ATXUndocked. So lots of ways to share your thoughts with us this morning. All right, we're going to wrap this up and move on to our next bike share company, Spin.
Hi, my name is Brian, and I handle public policy for Spin. Spin is a US-based dockless bike share and personal mobility company. We're based in San Francisco. And what Spin is trying to do is to harness the advantages of dockless technology, but do it in the right, responsible way to minimize any of the negative impacts that we all have grown accustomed to know. That slide is not working. But basically, this is a little bit outdated, but we are a little bit over a year old, or under a year old, I believe, and we are in almost 50 markets, including about 20 cities and about 35 or so college campuses. So I believe that's probably the most number of college campuses sort of in this space. And one of our campuses actually includes St. Edward's University here in Austin. What we found in St. Edward's is that they were sort of lacking good transit connectivity, and they were facing parking problems, and they were super excited to test out spin bikes as part of a pilot. It is a closed campus system, only on campus, and it is only for use by the St. Ed's community members. But what we found is even though the campus at St. Ed's is really small, it's only about 150 acres with about 3,000 or 4,000 students, we've seen in less than a month and a half almost 5,500 miles ridden just within campus. So what we've seen is there's clearly a demand and a use case for spin here in Austin. So we're really eager to continue the dialogue with everyone here in Austin, including ATX, to see what we can do to sort of help bring another mobility option to the public. A couple of differentiators about our bike. One cool thing I've learned about since joining Spin, I don't come from the tech sector, I came from the government side, is that we can be pretty nimble and flexible as a startup. And one cool thing is that we've made sure that we make improvements to every batch of new bikes that we design. Our current bikes, and this is actually the one that we have at St. Ed's, includes double kickstand for added stability, so you don't it'll minimize sort of the number of bikes that are falling over due to wind or vandals or mischievous people. We also have scooters, which is a separate conversation. And we are trying to be as affordable as possible. So everyone at St. Ed's is able to ride for half off our normal rates, including our Spin Unlimited plans. For those without smartphones or credit cards, we also offer Spin Access, which is an automated system. It's basically a gift card that you can buy from partner locations. You just text a dedicated phone number, and the bike will automatically unlock. So we've been selling this in Durham, in Seattle, and a few other markets so far. We also do in-app sponsorships and marketing, and this is in direct response to some of our campus and city partners that wanted extra revenue to subsidize their rides for their students or for their constituents. So that's something that's available for Austin as well. We also partner with local businesses to drive traffic to brick and mortar mom and pop stores by doing cross-promotional activity. We also offer large employers discounts and rebalancing, such as the World Bank here in DC. Ultimately, what Spin is trying to do is do dockless the right way, as I mentioned before. We were really proactive working with NAVSTA to fight against the preemption bills in both Florida and currently in Oklahoma. At the end of the day, we think local communities have a say at the table in terms of how dockless bike share can work in their hometown. And we're excited to work with Austin, and thank you for listening.
All right, thanks so much to Spin. You could go to Slido.com and rate them there. In the meantime, it looks like we have a pretty full house, which is super exciting. I see a couple of empty spaces. If we could maybe shift our way over that way. I know that not everyone wants to get stuck behind the camera, so I can understand it there, but if we can make some room. Folks, if you want to find a space up here, you're welcome to do so. All right, that looks good. Thank you so much, everyone. Make sure we keep that entryway clear so we make the library folks happy. If anyone from up there wants to come down and get a seat, you're welcome to do so. And if anyone over here wants to come and take a seat, you're welcome to do so as well. All right, let's move on to the next bike share company. That is Motivate.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name's Julie Wood. Did that wrong.
We'll start your time now, right?
Okay. There we go. Yeah? Okay. Hi. My name's Julie Wood. I'm from Motivate. We are the largest bike share operator in North America. We operate many of the bike share systems you might be familiar with in some of the densest cities and largest cities in the country. We've been doing it for a really long time. But as this industry is changing, we are starting to operate dockless bike share systems as well. We're launching dockless bike share in Minneapolis and San Jose this year. But before I go to that slide, I wanted to just talk about sort of the difference between docked and dockless bike share and ask a question of whether that's the most important thing that we should be talking about when it comes to bike share. When we think about docked versus dockless, really talking about the way that you park a bike or how a bike exists when it's not being ridden. But I actually think there are a whole bunch of other things that have more to do with really riding bikes that make a successful bike share system. And so I wanted to talk about some of those things. So talking about riding bikes, this is a metric that's been used in this industry for a really long time, rides per bike per day. This is how you know how often an individual bicycle in a bike share system is being used. So the numbers that are in green are Motivate systems that are docked systems, and the blue numbers on the right are dockless systems. And I have to note that these blue numbers are only estimates. Everyone talks about sharing data, but the reality is that the dockless companies are not making their data open. So we actually don't know how often their bikes are being ridden. Motivate systems, with all our partnerships with cities, we actually make our data publicly available, so you can go to our website, click use our data. You can make your own data visualizations and all that stuff. So what we see here, though, is that the docked bikes are actually being ridden more than the dockless bikes, and we're here to talk about dockless bikes, so that might be surprising, and you might wonder why that is, given all the discussion of dockless bikes. We think it's because of it's not about the parking, it's not about docked versus dockless, it's about the core values that we use to operate the systems that we run, so I'll talk about some of those. The first is rideability. And bike availability. So we think that the most important thing is being able to find a bike near you when you want to ride it. This doesn't happen by magic. Bikes just don't appear in all the right places. You have to put them there. We've been working on rebalancing and some best-in-class operations tools for years, and we think we're the best in the business at it. We take it really seriously. We put a ton of time and effort into it, and we think it's really important. Second thing is, public transit. We actually think that bike share is public transit. It's not just a fun thing, maybe you ride a bike when you happen to see one. We think bike share is a critical way that people get around the cities where they live. And it needs to be safe and it needs to be reliable, just like our public transit systems. We also know that many of our riders are using bike share in conjunction with public transit, so there's a really important relationship there. We invest in really high quality bikes. If you've ridden them in any of the cities where we operate, you know that they're sturdy, they're built to last, they're really meant to be ridden for years in all kinds of weather. They're not maintenance free. We also invest in people who actually maintain them on a very regular basis. And the last is equity and accessibility. So we believe that bike share is for everyone. We offer low income programs in all the cities that we run. We also work with community partners to make sure that people know that bike share is really for them. So those are the principles that we think make a successful bike share system, no matter the parking mechanism. And we hope that Austin will think about those principles when you look at building a dockless bike share system. Thanks.
Big thanks to Motivate. That technical glitch at the beginning was on our end, so don't dock them a star for that. That was totally on our end. For those of you watching, I got a question about whether these slides will be available afterward. Yes, we will find a way to make them available. We will either email them to you or upload them to the site, so no worries about that if you're looking at this on Facebook. You guys are getting faster and faster at this. All right, we are down to our last two. Next up is Austin B-Cycle, not to be confused with B-Cycle, which will be right after them. So Austin B-Cycle.
Good morning. My name is Elliot McFadden. I'm the executive director of Austin B-Cycle. And unlike every other company that is up here, we are not profit motivated. We are publicly owned. We are owned by the city of Austin. A lot of people see B-Cycle, they think we're a private deal. This is publicly owned transportation. Operated by our local nonprofit, Bike Share of Austin, which I'm the head of, that was awarded through a competitive bidding process about 5 years ago through the city. We do use B-Cycle Equipment, which is a company that'll come up here afterwards, but they were awarded that contract to the city through a competitive bid process. And we also have community oversight. So we actually have, through our agreement, a stakeholder board that oversees everything from where stations are placed to the price of our system to approving our budget every year. And because we are publicly owned, if our system ever makes profits, and the first thing I was told in bike share school is there's no money in bike share, so keep that in mind. But if there is ever profits in our system, it is much like Austin Energy. Dividends go back into the community for community good. So that's a big difference when we talk about bike share. We are community focused, we are community owned. We've also been highly successful. So we've grown the system at our launch in 2013 from 11 stations now to 63, over 500 bikes. We're adding 13 more stations. By the end of the year, we're on a growth trajectory. We've also grown our trips. We have gone from about 150,000 trips to this year, with the addition of our university expansion, we're expecting over 600,000 trips in our system this year. And we set national records. In 2014, we did the most checkouts per bike in a single day, 10 checkouts, which is now being absolutely crushed by our UT system, which is now doing 13 checkouts per bike per day on average. And we have one of the best fare box recovery rates in the nation, and this gets to sustainability. So fare box recovery means how much of our operations we recover with our ridership. So we get between 85 and 100% depending on the year. We're community focused, so we look at every station location we get public input from. We reach out to stakeholders in the community before we put any stations down. We were also one of the first groups in the country to develop a low-income program. We were the first bike share company to develop a cash-based prepaid card. All of our ridership is transparent. We're hearing a lot about ridership from day one. Any researcher, any member of the press who wanted our ridership data could get it. And it's now, with a partnership with the city, it's now online, so anybody can access trip data. But more importantly, your personal data is never shared. This is a question that we need to be thinking about. Dockless bike share, we can't figure out when we look at it how these things make money. If there are other ways to make money as a business, that's fine, but we need to be transparent about that. Because we are local and we have public oversight, your data is never shared. Finally, we're in it for the long haul. We only grow where bike share is actually sustainable. We're not going to put stations down where we can't continue to grow. We're built to last a long time with our equipment, and we innovate smartly. That means we looked at Dockless Bike Share 3 years ago, and to tell you the truth, I think there are a lot of problems with the model in a large scale. So that's one of the reasons we've stepped back and looked at whether we actually want to participate in that or not. But we think station-based bike share is a good model and is the future for high-use areas. And so we will continue to look and innovate in a smart way. Thank you.
And that was Austin B-Cycle. All right, we're going to move on to our last bike share company of this session. It is B-Cycle. That'll be us.
Thank you. I've only got one slide, So anyway, good morning, everyone. My name is Lee Jones. I'm privileged to have been with B-Cycle since the very beginning. I head up business development for the organization. By the end of this year, we're going to be in close to 50 communities around the country. Elliot, thank you so much for helping kind of move real quickly through this. You cover it in great detail. A couple of things I just want to mention to you about that makes B-Cycle different. Number one, we are owned by Trek Bicycle Corporation up in Wisconsin. Why that's important is we are able to leverage the technology that Trek has as a bicycle manufacturing company and an engineering firm into the products that we deliver. As you heard from Elliot, our products are designed to last, and we build in varying programs to make sure that the customer experience is outstanding. The other thing that is unique about B-Cycle, we got started back in 2010 when we launched our first system in Denver, and we have continued to try and evolve our product line. So we are really the only organization that has dock-based systems, and we are now evolving our product line, as you'll see with the Dash and the Dash Plus outside. Bikes that can be parked in stations, so we're taking advantage of the existing infrastructure the communities have invested in, but those bikes also can operate in less dense areas of our various communities. B-Cycle, we believe that the role of bike share is the manifestation of the bicycle's role in transit. And working in Los Angeles with LA Metro, we were actually the first bike share company in the United States that had full transit integration, where your transit pass became the access point to the bike share program. We're continuing to evolve our product line from basically pedal bikes into e-assist bikes that will work in our existing stations, for example, here at Austin, and again, trying to take advantage of the investments that have been made in our programs in various communities. And I'm going to probably just end it at that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. So if you could rate this last pitch on Slido.com. The event code is PitchATX for those of us joining us on Facebook. All right, that's it for our pitch session. For those of us joining us on Facebook, we're going to end this live stream, but don't go far away, because in about 10 minutes, we're going to start up with a panel discussion where we're going to feature national transportation leaders, and you'll have a chance to ask them questions all about bike share and their experiences with bike share. So don't go too far away. Thanks, everyone.